I would much rather not continue our government in any form or fashion. Continuing from this point forward. It's over. The bad guys won. By that I mean the businesses that own the government, all those rich people with their whole hands in the pie, jumping in feet first. They have to psyop some people harder than others. Close that door. Kid's still sleeping. So they have to psyop people harder than others. Some people are observant. I'm not saying I'm more so than the other person, but you don't realize the game they're playing because you were born into it. It was already running when you were born. That's why you don't notice it. So when I started school, I started in Ellington, Missouri. Um, Went to kindergarten. Did I do preschool? I did preschool. And then in kindergarten, they had. No, I didn't do preschool. I'd have to ask my mom. But either way, they put me in a GATE program. That's what I'm getting at. We're now 2.5 minutes into this. And they asked my mom if I wanted to go into this program. And she said, yeah, it'd be cool. I thought it'd be cool. Um, my Mima didn't think it was such a great idea because she knew the way government does things to people, tests on people and things like that. And then the people in the church said no. So I was born uh, Pentecostal. So people in the church said, no, 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 stay away from that. You don't want him in that program. But it was for a gifted and talented, felt, you know, special. Went ahead and tried it. Went ahead and did it. And it was just standard stuff. The headphones with the noises, beep, watching pictures. One time they had the computer or a video set up, and you just watch the pictures change while you listen to these beep. And they said, "Are you okay with violent or possibly sexual images?" I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, first off, I'm a child, and I want to see what they're going to show me." So I say, "Yeah, that's fine." But I watched the little video where the pictures change, and I didn't see anything of a violent or sexual nature. And when it was done, the lady interviewed me. She said, "Now, what were your? How did those pictures make you feel?" I was like, "I'm fine. I didn't see anything wrong with them, and I didn't see any violent images or anything explicit." She's like, "Oh, really? You know, like, they were there." I was like, "They weren't. I didn't see anything." And so she writes that down and tells me that, oh yeah, the images were in there. I said, well, the only thing I saw was somebody being loaded onto an ambulance, and then maybe I saw a gun, a picture of a gun, and then I saw um, somebody being resuscitated or something like that. None of these images were disturbing to me in any way. It's nothing I hadn't seen on the television show Rescue 911. You know, it's just average stuff, and so they were pleased with that. Actually, they were okay. Well, yeah, and then I don't remember if it was the same occurrence. I almost want to say it was different on a different day that um, 'cause we would often every time drink the pink drink like fluoride, and then we would have the audio. Okay, my memories of this were gone, completely gone, until like I remembered portions portions of it, but I didn't exactly. I knew it was the gate program, but I didn't knew it was weird stuff, but I didn't. It didn't really click until other people started talking about having these occurrences happen in their life, and those noises. I always hear the noises in TV and in movies and stuff. A little audio. That's what the noises sounded like, and I've always thought they were sending messages to people through the media. Like those are triggers. Those are. Did you hear that? Something important's coming up. You know, something that we're going to need to actually know is coming up um, in this piece of media. So, but that's just an aside. That's an aside. Just talking about those little noises. But back to the gate program. The I don't remember if it was the same time as what I was just talking about or a different time on a different week, but they had set up little dividers and they had students sitting outside the divider, and then they'd call one student into the little divider to talk to this lady. And if I remember right, she was a short-haired blonde, and this was the early '90s, so women were having bob haircuts and things like that. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm trying in my mind to figure out if what I saw was a mask, which I believe it was, or did this lady actually turn her face into a lizard? I don't know because I didn't get to watch her do it. I tried to provoke her to do it, um, but let me backtrack. So you got the dividers. You remember the little school dividers, blue or gray, whatever they may be, like 6 feet wide, 6 feet tall. And then I got three chairs sitting outside. So I'm sitting this way, and you would be where they are, where the lady is, and then she's on this side, and then the student was on this side facing her, and then she was facing this way, and then I'm facing this way, sitting in a chair, and then the divider's right here, right here. So my elbow would be like the edge of the divider, so I'm able to lean back and peek around the corner where the other lady's seeing me. We're not supposed to be looking. We're supposed to be facing forward and quiet. Not supposed to say anything. So the lady steps around to the other side of the divider to talk to some kids that were on that side, and I peek back around that divider, and I see that lady. She now has a lizard face. And here comes the lady around the corner. You're not supposed to be looking back there. I was like, oh, I didn't. I didn't see anything. I didn't see nothing. She's like, okay, because they would kick me out if I. So I was like, she said, okay, face forward. So I did. It was my turn. That kid left out. I walked back in there and I did the spiel as she asked me questions, a bunch of questions. But one of these questions I remember the most because things I had been told from the church. Now, I went into this class thinking that it was a government operation. I'm a kid, and I'm hearing people in church, and I already know all these stories of how the government works. And I was raised in that kind of environment. People who tell the truth about things as they know them. So I was not in the dark about the government doing operations. And at the time, to be honest with you, I wanted to know, I was curious, like, is this really what's happening? Well, it is. It is. They're operating. They're for sure. And I knew that day when I saw that lady with the lizard face around the corner. Okay, but she gets me in the little cubicle and she's asking me questions. One of the questions is, would you bow your head to royalty? Oh no, I'm an American. That was my answer. I am a United States citizen and I do not bow to royalty. We fought a war against the king, the queen, Great Britain. I would never bow to royalty. And she said, okay, well, you're finished. You can go. And I was all fucked up. I thought I was saying the right thing. I thought I was saying the American thing. And when she told me that I was finished and I could go, I was like, oh my goodness, how is that not the right answer? It didn't make sense to me. And so I just flat out told her, show me your face. And she said, I can't do that. Show me your face. Change for me. She wouldn't. She said, look, it's better for you this way. This will be better for you if you're not involved. I said, okay. Are you sure I can't try again? She said, no. All right, and that was that. That was it. Didn't get to see the lizard face lady. I don't. In my mind, whenever I was explaining this to my mom later that day, I told her that I saw her face change a little bit. I think, but I think I was just BSing. I was because she didn't shimmer change just briefly or anything like that. I want to say I remember that, but I think I'm imagining that part. Uh, and I know that sounds sketchy, but I want to include that because that's for whatever reason that's there. I think to maybe make it seem more real to my mother because she did not believe me that this was happening at all. She didn't. The main reason she didn't believe me is because I told her the queen had come. The queen had come in that day. Later on, okay, so whenever I got kicked out of the cubicle, when I get kicked out of the cubicle, I'm told that I have to go outside of the classroom now. Not go back and sit with my classmates on the other side of the cubicles that they've set up. Not sit with the gate kids or the regular class kids, but I have to go out into the hallway. So I get out in the hallway and there's a chair and then the door. And they tell me I have to sit in the floor, not on the chair. And I was like, no, I'm going to sit in this chair. And it's no, sit in the floor. And they stern about it. They were mad, angry. And put your head down. Put your head down. And I'm like, no, because you just told me that I had to bow my head, asked me if I would bow my head. I will not put my head down. I was very defiant. I was not a defiant child. I have never been a person who is outright just defiant for no reason. My defiance comes from a very specific action where you're taking control of me. I don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder. Like, I've heard people say, "Why do you have a chip on your shoulder?" The teacher asked me that in like third, fourth grade, and I was like, first off, trying to make me learn a language I don't want to know. But that's aside the point. I was defiant and not putting my head down. I see men in suits coming. They tell me to put my head down. Several men in suits, like Secret Service guys. And then here comes a blue dress walking by, big hat. I thought it was the Queen of England. I thought it was the Queen of England, since they had just asked me would I bow my head to royalty. So I'm looking up at this lady. She looks down at me, gives a slight angry smile, like she knows what kind of shitbag I am. That kind of. I thought it was the Queen of England, especially with the guys. I could have swore one of them had a British accent. The one that told me to look down. That's why I was like, "You're a British dude in America? What the fuck is that?" I didn't know Barbara Bush had a royalty fetish. Okay. So all of this occurs. I go home that day and tell my mother the Queen is in our town. And she's like, this kid is crazy. Like, no, the Queen was at our school. No, there's no way. There's no. You are misunderstanding. It was a few days later, I see Barbara Bush on TV. And I said, "There she is, Mom. There's the Queen. She was at our school." She looked at me and whoever was in the room with her and, like, it's weird. And then dismissed it. Shit. My life has been fucking insane. I know I look like a crazy person. But this ain't even all of it. This ain't even all. That was just my earliest childhood memory of the government fucking with us. I got more. Stay tuned.